Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry this video is so late. This episode came out on Tuesday. Today's Thursday now. I went on vacation this past weekend. I came back. I was under the weather. I was pretty sick. Still not 100%, but this video is late. Like I said, I just want to just put it out. So for this video, if you're new here, I usually do a whole recap and review. I talk about everything, give you guys my rating for the episode, then talk about my thoughts who the killer is. For this video, just because it's kind of late and most of you probably have seen other videos or you've had time to ponder what has happened in the episode, I'm just going to really walk through some things I liked about the episode, talk about some important things, give you guys my rating still, and talk about who I think the killer could be at the end. So pretty much the same type of video, I guess. And if you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new. But let's talk about Only Murders in the Building, Season 2, Episode 7. Alright, so after episode 6's ending, I was really excited to see how this episode was going to start. There was a lot of theories going around about Mabel stabbing that person, what was going to happen with her, because I was talking about my last video, how that was like a felony. Like, she should be like, be not suspect number one, but like, people should be looking for her. Like, the police should be looking for her if she stabbed someone. As we saw in this episode, she stabbed that person, but then the person ran away and he was fine, pretty much. And I guess it's not that important. Like, I thought people would recognize her. It's all over TikTok. It blew up everywhere. I feel like more people should have been searching for her in terms of like police related stuff. I thought we'd see more of that in this episode, sort of like a runaway storyline. Instead, it seems like it's not as big of a deal as we thought it was. Like, she can still maneuver around. She doesn't have to like hide her face out in public. I thought it was gonna be something like that. But episode 7 also has a focus on the flipping the pieces aspect. That's what the title of this episode is. And we have these flashbacks with Mabel and her father. Shows how the father introduced puzzles to her and like the whole mystery genre to her. And this, I liked all this because it actually explains why Mabel blocked out a lot of the stuff with Bunny. It goes with her father, like when he was in the hospital bed, and it's like any traumatic event now, like she just blocks it out and she doesn't remember it, right? So that's what she did with Bunny, and I liked how it all sort of circled together towards the end when she decided that she needs to actually not black it out anymore and remember what happened between her and Bunny. And I also loved how this episode teased that Mabel would be the killer. Like, we saw actual scenes, which were fake scenes of, her putting the knitting needle into, Bunny's chest and all that stuff. So there was a point in this episode where we thought maybe Mabel is the killer. It was a little bit too soon. We're only in episode 7. We have 2 more episodes left. They're not going to reveal the killer till maybe next episode or the one after that. But I love that scene of when Mabel's putting all the pieces together. And we see the person that killed Bunny, and it looks like a guy, right? Like, I think any person that's a woman should be ruled out in terms of like who actually stabbed Bunny. Like I said, I do think it's gonna be 2 people. I think 2 people working together. Like, the guy that killed her was working for someone, like Nina, or something like that. But we actually saw that Mabel's not the one, so we can cross Mabel off the list now, I'd say. I also like the whole like buddy cop relationship between Theo Demas and Mabel during this episode. They're trying to find the glitter guy. He says, like, at first Bunny thinks it's actually Theo who attacked her, but Theo explains to her that he's actually trying to help her, and he found the security guard passage at Coney Island, which leads him to Coney Island. That's where they see the guy. A little fight occurs. She gets the backpack that she wanted back because that had the matchbook with the only clues on it. I actually liked all this. I loved how there was a big focus on actually unraveling the mystery. Some of these episodes are filler and we go around in circles and by the end it's like, what really happened there? I liked how, at least in this episode, it was a little bit of a runaround. Like, by the end of it, you're like, there's a couple things to pull out of it, but I like how the show had us on our toes throughout the entire episode. Now, the parts that I didn't really care for too much were the Charles Oliver and Detective Williams parts. Like, they were funny. Like, that's the comedy parts of the show, of this episode. And, in that dynamic, it was good. But it was a lot of a runaround just to give Detective the knife by the end, which is good now. Like, this is actually exciting to see whose fingerprints she'll find on there. Oliver's trying to explain that she'll find Lucy's and his, and, maybe they'll come back to bite him. But hopefully there are some other fingerprints on that knife that will lead us to the actual suspect. So after this, as we'll see, in the backpack, the matchbooks aren't there, which is like the one clue she actually wanted from that backpack. So that's why I kind of say that this episode kept us on our toes, but again, it was like sort of a runaround. I don't want to call it filler because I actually enjoyed this episode a lot. But in terms of like actually unraveling or getting more clues, there wasn't actually too much if you really think about it. Like, there was things that we thought were clues, like in terms of like Mabel and what she was doing. We saw her stabbing Bunny, getting the matchbook and stuff like that, or the Coney Island security thing. It's like it was a little bit of runaround because we don't really have any more solid evidence. But now in the final moments, we see that in the backpack, she did find that there was a picture of Charles and Lucy. She shows she shows Oliver and Charles at the diner. Charles calls Lucy. Lucy picks up, and then there's a blackout. And then the blackout's for the whole entire city, it looks like, which makes me question, like, who is... I guess anybody could do this, right? Like, anybody, I guess, could, like, find the switch and break in and shut the power off. But it makes me think that, like, someone would actually have access to this compartment or box or whatever it is that can shut down this whole thing. So that makes me think about, like, power and who has power. Again, I think about Nina and, like, how she knows the inner workings of some apartments or whatever. So maybe she could have told someone to turn off the power or blackout or whatever. So I guess that's kind of everything I want to talk about in this episode. I'm rating this episode a 3.9 out of 5. I actually really liked it. I think it was the best episode of this season so far. Like I said, just kept us on our toes. I think it was the most entertaining episode from start to finish. Everything with like Mabel and Theo. I enjoyed that relationship. Going to Coney Island, having this interaction with the glitter guy. Thinking that Mabel could be the killer with all those weird scenes, seeing the flashbacks of their father, this whole mystery aspect. I love the scene where her putting the pieces together with the puzzle in terms of Bunny's death. I thought it was really entertaining. So those are my thoughts on this episode. Obviously, I don't think my thoughts have changed too much on who the killer actually is. My stance is still on Nina and her husband. My camera almost fell there, sorry. So Nina and her husband, I think they're my number one suspects still. I think it still sort of makes sense that she would want to kill Bunny. She doesn't want to do it herself, so she has her little boyfriend go out there and do it. I still think the podcast lady, the only murderers in the building, Tina Fey, I think she's the one who's framing them. We still don't know who's framing them. I thought we'd maybe get that in this episode, like we find out who framed them, and these next two episodes actually find the killer. But we still don't know either. So those are my stance right now on the killers and who's framing them. But let me know down below, what do you guys think of this episode? Do you think it was filler? You think it was too much of the runaround and led to nothing, or were you entertained? Did you like it? My voice is still shot. I guess I'm still pretty sick, so I'm going to end this now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new. We'll come back stronger next week, and 2 more episodes left, so we'll find out the killer soon. And I heard the finale. There was early screenings of the finale, actually, and they said it's absolutely insane. They said if you think this show's popular now, wait until that finale, because more people are going to want to watch it after that, which got me super excited. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day.